So a Spaceballs sequel was announced a couple weeks back, and in case y'all don't know, I'm a massive Spaceballs fan. It's one of my favorite comedies, it cracks me up every time I watch it, and it's probably the movie I've quoted the most in my life. Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the coloring book, Spaceballs the lunchbox, Spaceballs breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the flamethrower. The kids love that one. And last but not least, Spaceballs the doll. Me.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Adorable. I could do that all day, by the way. I've even thought of doing a Spaceballs quote-along live stream, so if any of you would be interested, let me know. I have always had 3 dream sequels. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4, Back to the Future 4, and Spaceballs 2. And I kinda already got Spider-Man 4 with No Way Home and an upcoming fan film, so guess I'm 2 for 3. I always said to myself that if any of those 3 sequels came to fruition, those 3 I would possibly become my most anticipated movies of all time, so that's definitely the case here. And before this announcement, I kind of suspected that we might possibly be getting Spaceballs 2 when Mel Brooks actually did discuss the possibility of Spaceballs 2 around when Force Awakens came out, thinking that it would be a good time to do one. And then there is a clip out there of Mel Brooks at a convention asking the fans if they would want Spaceballs 2, to which they were very enthusiastic, to Mel Brooks' surprise.
Would you people like to see a Spaceballs 2?
Absolutely.
Now, how can them can't resist that?
And then it was once when I saw Mel Brooks coming onto Hulu with History of the World Part 2, another sequel to one of his films. That's when I started thinking, okay, Mel, when do we get Spaceballs 2? And now, here it is. But no, even before this announcement, I always thought that Spaceballs should get a sequel because the original Spaceballs came out in 1987. Think about all the Star Wars stuff we've gotten since then. The prequels, the sequels, the TV shows, the spin-offs, even more merchandising, all just ripe for comedy. Like, imagine a Spaceballs version of The Mandalorian. Like, we could get Baby Yogurt. Baby Yogurt, you guys! And you know that if they're brave enough, they can have a field day making fun of the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy. But beyond the Star Wars, we've also gotten a lot more new sci-fi stuff since the first movie. The Matrix, Firefly, Inception, the Dune films, and we've even gotten some recent new sci-fi movies this past year. 65, The Creator, and the Rebel Moon films. Oh gosh, imagine if they made fun of Rebel Moon. But no, I do find it poetic that in Spaceballs, they do literally have a Spaceballs 2 joke with,
I wonder, will we ever see each other again?
Who knows? God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
And here it is finally confirmed, over 30 years later. Potentially the ultimate payoff to a joke. Also, please actually call it Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. Or Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2. That one I will also accept. But okay, to get to actually talking about the new movie, Mel Brooks is returning to produce. That is great. I would have been more exciting if he was coming back to write and direct too, but at least he's there with some involvement. They have Josh Greenbaum as director on the project, who, admittedly, his work I'm not quite familiar with, besides Strays, which I did not watch because I am not a fan of vulgar comedies. But what did sound promising to me was the writing team. They got the writers of Detective Pikachu and last year's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I really enjoyed. As well as I spotted that they also wrote the upcoming LEGO Star Wars movie, Rebuild the Galaxy. Sounds like a little bit of an unofficial Spaceballs writing demo? Okay, maybe not world-class comedy writers, and I do wish Mel Brooks was more involved in the writing too, but still solid picks. And there is part of me that is thinking here, so we do actually have a writer, producer, director, and somebody set to start for this, so it seems like they are pretty far into development on this, so meaning, could we actually be getting this movie soon, within the next year or two? That would be pretty sweet. And then along with the headline of A Spaceballs 2 was the announcement that Josh Gad is set to star in it. Which I admittedly didn't think or could see Josh Gad in a Spaceballs movie, and his comedy can be a little hit or miss. Until I had the thought, and this just just a theory. I looked up pictures of John Candy, who played Barf in the original film, and Josh Gad, and did notice that the two guys do look kind of similar, so maybe could Josh Gad be playing a Barf recast or Barf's son? Okay, in that case, I can see that. Which leads me to the original cast. Will any of them be returning? Because, admittedly, the original cast would be one of the trickiest parts of doing a Spaceballs sequel, as many have either retired or passed on. But I don't know, even with the drawbacks, I could still see them bringing back, like, a Bill Pullman as Lone Star, or Princess Vespa, or maybe recast somebody as the voice of Dot Matrix. Rick Moranis returning as Dark Helmet probably would be in Dreamland, but that would be awesome. Come on, Rick. If there's any movie to return to acting for, it's this one. Not a silly Disney Plus Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot thing. Also starring Josh Gad. I mean, they can have a new Spaceballs movie with a new cast within the world of Spaceballs, because that happens within the world of Star Wars all the time, too. But, you know, having at least one of the original cast members in there, I think, could get both me and other Spaceballs fans on board. Especially if they're going to do a Legacy sequel, possibly making fun of Legacy sequels, might as well go all the way with it. Or if all fails with the original cast, just bring in Mel as Yogurt or Old Man President's Group. But no, this does lead me to my one worry, which is the comedy sequel. Comedy sequels, especially years later comedy sequels, do not have a great track record. As well as, I have not heard good things about History of the World Part 2. As well as, there has been a failed attempt at a Spaceballs continuation before, but yeah, we don't talk about Spaceballs the animated series in this house. But hey, I would always have the first, and then if this one's great, then awesome. I have 2 great Spaceballs movies. This is where my brother was saying that if the movie's great, you're not going to hear the end of it from me. If the movie's terrible, you're not going to hear the end of it from me. If it's mid, you're still not going to hear the end of it from me. But no, you do have Mel there, and I do think the writing team is promising, so I'm slightly cautious, but optimistic for this one. Especially if they can tap into the true potential of a Spaceballs sequel.